All right, enough United. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Barcelona are held to a 1-1 draw at Getafe. Jules, it's one win in 8 in La Liga. But did they get bored the last?
They did get a bit bored the last. Although, again, they had plenty of chances. They, at times, were very good. At times, they were bored the last and could not really find a way in this very, very low and compact and defensive Getafe defense, as they do. They get, I guess, a bit unlucky on the goal too, of the rebound and the way it gets scored. But there's clearly something too in this. It's happening too much, Gabby, where they drop points by being not efficient enough, maybe, but maybe not too focused or not too switched on enough in those kind of games where you expect them to win Leganes and Las Palmas and Getafe. And this is a team that is a young team, but still.
Lamine Yamal took 7 shots,
I know.
which is pretty wild. I thought it was interesting too when Lewandowski comes off because he wasn't having any joy, and who comes on? Ferran Torres, and I'm thinking to myself, the lack of, and it's not Margue. That is where you should have maybe the Dani Olmo money, spend it there.
Yeah. And sticking with that game, Gabi, Alejandro Balde reported racist abuse to the referee, and the protocol was applied during the game. He repeated it as well on television after in his flash interviews. And we were hoping not to have to talk about this again, but here we are.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, the protocol is a player hears racist abuse, he reports it to the referee. There's an announcement via the tannoy, and people around the pitch start paying attention. Specific attention if it was from the area of a pitch or whatever. If it continues again, the game is suspended, and then the game resumes. And if it happens a third time, the match is abandoned. And people say, and this drives me crazy, like, oh, so this way the racists have 2 chances to racially abuse somebody. I'm like, I'm sorry, how else are you going to handle this? Yeah. Right? So that in and of itself is designed to stamp out the abuse that happens during the game and to make sure that the games can finish and players don't have to play in these conditions. There has to be the follow-up where Getafe, you're at the Coliseum, you identify the people, and then you ban them.
Yeah.
And it's starting to happen. They've passed laws in Spain. We're still not where we should be. A long way to go, but it happened at Valencia. Those guys got banned. I expect it to happen at Getafe. I expect Getafe to work with the authorities to make sure that these people, if they're identified, they don't go back into the stadium ever.
Juventus beat Milan 2-0. And Gab, this was one of their best performances this season.
It really was. He made a bold choice, leaving out Vlahovic until 7 minutes at the end. Again, Vlahovic not happy. Yeah. Milan, I thought, were really, really disappointing. They looked to play on the break, on the counter. You thought they were playing like Real Madrid away from home or something. And then in the second half, this feels like Fonseca. All the bad things that happened under Fonseca are happening again. And Conceição came out and said it. Like, there's not enough hunger. Too many individual mistakes. Tomori put on his backside. Yeah. That was just an embarrassment. Theo Hernandez needs to have his head checked. He should. If this continues, I don't think he should be continue
the
playing.
First time you said that as well.
No, it's time and again. Others don't run around. Conceição is supposed to be, if Fonseca was Mr. Nice Guy, supposedly, Conceição is supposed to be Mr. Intensity. Let's see that.
Yeah. Real Madrid destroyed Las Palmas 4-1 despite going a goal down. And my book, Kylian Mbappe shines again. Gab, they're back on top of the table.
So I think the XG in this was over 5. And they had 3 goals disallowed, including an absolute stunner from Fede Valverde. Yeah. One of Mbappe's goals was really good too. That was also disallowed.
Yeah.
I think they absolutely needed this. You need the boost after what's happened. Las Palmas not very good, and you're back top of the table. And you face forward with that little tiny bit of tranquility. Also nice to see David Alaba come back
after more than a year.
392 days.
Yeah. Bayern beat Wolfsburg 3-2 to stay top of the Bundesliga. But Gab, did they make life difficult for them in the end?
They did. Do not be fooled. Not a good performance. No. Not a good performance. You can look at the XG. The XG were over 3, because they took 1 billion shots. Yeah. Most of them bad shots. The first 2 goals were just low percentage shots from outside the area. And on one of them, the Camille Grabara laid an absolute egg in the Wolfsburg goal. You're 3-1 up. See the game out. No, let's concede another goal just because. Only good news, Goretzka played a blinder. But again, it's the kind of thing where Goretzka plays a blinder against Wolfsburg and then goes away again. Puts them back on the shelf. There's more to be done, and Harry Kane's goal drought continues. Paris Saint-Germain come from behind to win at Lens 2-1 as my boy Speedy Barcola shows he can, in fact, finish. Shut up the haters, Barcola. Jules, you like what you see out of the huge clash with City on Wednesday?
I didn't like the first half so much because it was a bad half, and Luis Enrique made loads of changes. He played Nuno Mendes as the number 8, which didn't work. There was no Hakimi, no Marquinhos, no Dembele. And Lens had a good team, especially at the Stade Bollard. Second half was much better from PSG, and that second goal especially, 6 passes from one box to the other. Great assist by Neves, great finish, even better by
He can finish.
And Luis Enrique said he's been exceptional this season, and we know he didn't score for 10 games, and this goal would be great for him, especially with Kvaratskhelia coming over. And that's just perfect before that massive game on Wednesday where I'm going to, and I'm dreading it already. So we'll see. Huge win for Napoli as Romelu Lukaku scores the late winner to make it 3-2 away at Bergamo against Atalanta. Gab, the Conte method is working.
This is really, really big because you remember Atalanta went to Naples, spanked them 3-0. Atalanta, this was the kind of game where if you watch it, you say, okay, well, there were evident defensive mistakes for Atalanta, and Napoli punished them. But equally, I think Napoli didn't concede that much, well, apart from the 2 goals, obviously, but it is Atalanta away, who are really tough out. And you can see how Conte, I mean, he looks at the table, and I've got 17 games left to go, and we don't play in any other competitions, and I can go and I can play with this kind of defensive intensity. I would like to see a little more from them. Lukaku, 8 goals and 6 assists this season, only playing in Serie A. And there's a wonderful story that's out there, which is, Lukaku often has concerns because he's a big boy, right? About his weight and his size and stuff like that. And as the story goes, Conte would weigh him in the summer in training camp, but he would have his one of his assistants manipulate the scale. So he would always look a couple kilograms heavier than he really was. And Lukaku would get angry and say, and Conte would shout at him and be like, but I haven't eaten anything, blah, blah, blah. And and supposedly that's part of Conte law. That's why Conte is Conte. Florentino Perez has been re-elected as president of Real Madrid. Jules, this comes as a shock.
Massive. I really didn't think he could get, fifth term? Is that right?
Yeah, why not? There's no term limits.
I think, and I think, was he the only candidate too? Because as we know, the rules are made as such that it's very difficult for whoever wants to try to be elected.
Yeah, to be a candidate, you need a certain number of years as a club member. You need a certain number of years on some kind of board, and you need to have
zeros on your bank account too.
Yeah, you need to have a personal guarantee of something like 90 million euros, which very few people have.
Yeah, but Florentino, you've also been very successful. So in a way,
I will say this: my one thing that I never hear coming from him or from Real Madrid is succession. Right?
Yeah.
Florentino's now in his mid-70s.
As long as he's fit to...
Yeah, he's fit, but at some point he's going to slow down,
right?
at
some point.
May he live to be 120 years old. But the point is, I would like him to go and share a plan for the future of Real Madrid so that at some point, we're not... The club's not left in a mess.
Yeah, true. Lautaro is hitting form, Gabi. Leads Inter with a lovely goal to a 3-1 win over Empoli.
Yeah, obviously it's entirely different when Lautaro's firing, and big win for Inter because obviously with Napoli winning the day before, it means that if they win their game in hand, they go joint top of the table, and it's very much a head-to-head. People were critical of Inter because it took them a while to score. But again, I don't want to be a broken record. There's no Hakan Çalhanoğlu. That's an issue. But also there's no Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan came on. He's just coming back from injury. Mkhitaryan, I think, can maybe fill in for Çalha better than our boy Aslani can.
Yeah.
I love giving him minutes, and I'm waiting for him to turn the corner, but it's just not happening. Mehdi Taremi, not great. He's going through a tough spot.
Yeah, but Marcus scored, which is, I think, 14th this season, which is the best he's ever had in one domestic season in the league. So
Marcus Thuram, comes off the bench.
Yeah,
gets it done. Yeah. Good weekend for the entire Thuram family in Italy. Actually.
Yeah, very good weekend. You're right.
Atletico Madrid's winning streak ends at 15 in a row as they lose at Leganés, get leapfrogged by Real Madrid on the table, and your boy Antoine Griezmann misses a penalty.
One of the worst penalties that I think he's ever taken, not even on target. It's so, I don't know, it's so poor. The penalty, they had plenty of chances. They hit the woodwork twice. They should have won it. They didn't win it. It's funny in a way that the 15-game winning streak comes to an end in a game like this where there've been games in those 15 that they won that they didn't deserve to win, really. There's somewhere they rode their luck a little bit, albeit, like, for example, the Barca game. And in this one, where really they were by far the better team and should have won it, they didn't. So it shows you what football is about, really.
Yeah, I hope Simeone, I'm sure he realizes this and doesn't say, oh, I need to change, need to freshen up the team. No.
Yeah.
Keep going, keep putting pressure on Real Madrid.
Yeah. So another 2 goals for Florian Wirtz as he leads Bayern Leverkusen to a 3-1 win over Borussia Mönchengladbach. Gab, they stay in second place, 4 points behind Bayern.
Do you know how I've been kind of unimpressed when he does the thing where he plays all the defensive midfielders, like the Shaka, and then all the off-brand Shakas next to him, and then he's got Frimpong and Grimaldo as wingers. He didn't do that in this game. No. Guys are fit. Nathan Tella, width on the right, a proper attacking width. Yeah. On the left, I've got God, I'm blanking. Your boy Thierry,
who got injured. Love him, out for the rest of the season.
He got injured again.
Yeah, out for the rest of the season.
I hope he doesn't go back. Well, Hoffman thankfully is back, and Victor Boniface very close to returning as well. They're so much better when they do this. They race the 3-0 lead. Florian Wirtz, again, doing his whole unplayable routine. My man Patrick Schick scoring as well. And, then they gave up a goal late. Doesn't matter. But they're just so much more dominant, so much better. They're just not suited to playing that other way.
Yeah. Welcome back in Bochum, Gab. Leipzig were 3-0 up at halftime, and you can't make it up. Have to settle for a point. They implode again.
I'm lost for words. Okay, so there was no SOS because, of course, as we told you on the last episode, 2/3 of the SOS, Benjamin Seco and Loic Openda, decided to get themselves, pick up second yellows needlessly and get themselves suspended for this game. That's okay. It's only Bochum. Yeah, only Bochum. No Bochum. Yeah, okay. So you go 3-0 up and you can't sustain the lead. Now, I appreciate Nusa and Baumgartner up front. Not the same thing.
No.
But this defending, again... God. Marco Rosa, there's 2 things. There's stuff you do with the ball, stuff you do off the ball. And I know, but we press. No. This isn't about pressing. This is about having people switched on in the right positions, not taking unnecessary risks when you're 3-0 up. Well done, Bochum. They kept believing. They were 3-0 up. I think it was halfway through the first half.
Yeah. They scored 2 in the first 10 minutes or something. It was an impressive start, and then you knew it would collapse in the second half.
Yeah, you go and check out the highlights. Incidentally, Andre Silva on the naughty step.
Yeah.
I wonder if he can find a home.
Surely he has to. It's better than being on the bench all the time for this Leipzig side.
I assume Poulsen's injured because we didn't see him. Why can't... Well, whatever. I can't question the genius of that organization. Marseille are held at home by Strasbourg, 1-1. Jules, the gap is now 9 points. I'm on the verge of writing them off. Are you?
Yeah, I think 9 is probably too much. We said there's another classic to come in Paris. So Marseille can maybe, if they win that,
6?
Bridge that gap a little bit. But this PSG team still unbeaten, by the way. And as we saw against Lens, very resilient, still hard to beat even now, even when they go a goal down, for example. So it's hard, I think, for Marseille. This was not too bad, and Strasbourg, they're young, good team, and Andre Santos was very good. He gave away the penalty, but apart from that, I thought he was outstanding. And I think very soon, maybe not just now, but maybe next season, maybe the season after, I think Chelsea could do really well with calling him or having him back and playing him, because I think he's going to be that great.
So then they can move Caicedo permanently to right back.
Yeah, it could be good. So not too bad for Marseille. Still unbeaten, obviously, since the switch in formation for the Arabi. But yeah, they will feel at home against Strasbourg. That is 2 points really drops. Gab, this was way back on Friday, but Claudio Ranieri's Roma beat Patrick Vieira's Genoa 3-1, and they are now in the top half of the table.
They are, yes, 6 games unbeaten.
Lovely,
they've trundled up the league. Paulo Dybala seems to have really responded to crazy Claudio.
Yeah.
He was the emergency pill, and he's getting the job done. They're looking at maybe bringing another striker, although I think Dovbik's actually playing better now.
He's hitting form now. He scored again, yeah.
He's hitting form. I don't mind the Dovbik, Dybala, Pellegrini, the DDP, the Diamond Dallas page of Roma, but no, they're looking at options, and but yeah, look, Roma fans, I mean, they deserve a team that's in the Europa League
definitely.
or Champions League.
Definitely.
Also Friday, no Omar Marmoush. I wonder why.
Me too.
But Eintracht Frankfurt rolled to a 2-0 win over Borussia Dortmund. Jules, do you want to praise Dino Topmuller? Or are we going to be mean to Nuri Sahin, whose team seems to get worse just as his injured guys return?
Yeah, exactly. First, let's praise Dino Topmuller because there's a wonderful season by Frankfurt. Let's see what they do without Marmoush, who's obviously going to Manchester City, and who partners Ekitike up front. We saw Højlund, another Højlund, one of the twins, scoring.
Yeah.
Late in that game. First goal since he moved to Frankfurt from Copenhagen, which is really good for him. Obviously,
he's not really a striker, though. He's more of a midfielder,
He's
isn't
more an attacking midfielder, yeah. So he won't be the one replacing Marmoush. They like Eli Wahi at Marseille, like West Ham do, and other clubs. So let's see. And for Nuri Sahin, I don't know, they're 10th in the table. I've got no words. I think he needs to get sacked. He's not the right guy for that club. I know he's a club legend, but it's just not working. Even, as you say, Gabi, with players coming back from injury, they are too average, and he clearly can't get the best out of this team. So it's okay. He can get it wrong. He's fine.
I feel like there's club legends by Borussia Dortmund standards who are above him, who sign these players and keep him in the job. I would like to see them questioned too, if you're going to question Nuri Sahin.
Absolutely. Chelsea kick off in a few hours on Monday evening as we record this show. But with reports in Italy linking João Félix to Milan, could he be on his way, Gab? And would you be happy?
So, first of all, there's obviously in Italy we've all become massive Anglophiles, right?
Yeah.
Trying to bring in players from England and indeed from Scotland too. Many good ones, led by Liam Ferguson, of course. But the Joo Félix, this has, and that's reference to Kyle Walker. Ibrahimovic spoke about him. I do not like this deal at all.
Why are they doing it?
I don't know. The latest was, look, we're going to sell Tomori to Juventus. Or sent Tomori to Juve, like we sent Kalulu to Juve. By the way, Kalulu's done much better at Juve this season than any Milan defender. Yeah. And look, let's bring in Kyle Walker. I don't get this one bit. Makes no sense. I know, look, it's Emerson. Maybe he doesn't like Emerson Royal. I don't know. It's okay. A lot of people don't like him.
Yeah.
But it's freaking Kyle Walker on loan for 6 months. Whatever. But back to João Félix. Hey, what can I say? Uncle George.
George.
What it does tells me, if I'm Chelsea, I've lost Mudryk for a long period of time. You know my thoughts on João Félix. I'm pretty sure Enzo Maresca's thoughts on João Félix are aligned with mine.
Yeah. But
I need another winger, don't I? I mean, I don't...
Surely if João Félix goes, he's being replaced by somebody, right? They're like Jeremiah from...
you know what? Jeremy Pino?
No, from Deportivo, no?
Whoever they like, they also have a PSR situation. Because Milan aren't going to pay you money. You just got João Félix for whatever that essentially was one of those bogus swaps for Conor Gallagher, right? So in the books, if memory serves, I think it's 45 million, something like that. Plus, of course, João Félix makes an absolute fortune, right? So with that in mind, if you just send him on loan to Milan, you may get a chunk of his wages off your books, but he's going to come back. So you can't go and spend money on somebody else.
True. Yeah,
unless you're going to sell somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know my thoughts. I think João Félix would not be helpful at Milan.
I mean, at a time where Sergio Conceição wants intensity and hunger, I'm not sure João Félix...
But you know what? Uncle George.
Yeah, Uncle George.
I think this
absolutely.
is... I think
this is so George Mendes.
Yeah, but look, the same way Milan rebuffed them with that Trincao nonsense.
Yeah, true.
Remember Milan, Conceição is going to bring Trincao. No. Like, Uncle George, if you're going to bring your clients to Milan, in the name of Milan, I'm not a Milan fan, but in the name of Milan fans, bring the good ones.
Please.
Do not bring the malcontents, the weirdos. And the frustrating thing, by the way, João Félix, I'm not questioning his technical ability. If he came to Milan, just as he is the most technically gifted player at Chelsea, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You even put him ahead of Cole Palmer, because Palmer's one-footed by his own admission, right?
Yeah.
In fact, even in the whole Premier League, there's not many, right? We've had this conversation before.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can count them on 2 fingers, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Right? It's Kevin De Bruyne and Kevin De Bruyne. Is there anybody else?
No, I mean...
Who's more technically gifted than João Félix?
I don't think there would be...
De Bruyne, maybe.
Yeah, KDB probably, and you're right. That's probably...
Salah?
Salah, again, is one-footed.
But he's one-footed,
yeah.
So, whatever. Monaco slip up again, losing in Montpellier. Jules, they haven't won a league game since December 7th.
Yeah.
They're out of the Coupe de France.
Yeah.
I know, they're young, blah, blah, blah. This is on Adi Hutter, yeah?
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting, Gabby, is that last year they struggled at the same time. Start of the year again, had this really bad patch when they were top of the league, really competing with PSG, and they fell massively after the new year. And this is exactly the same. Well, it started even more. It started after that Benfica defeat when they were 2-1 up with 5 minutes to go, down to 10 men, but still, and they conceded 2 goals to lose 3-2, and they've never looked the same really ever since. They've had injuries too. They've given a new deal to Adi Hutter, which obviously was a great inspiration from the club. And now this is where they are. It's tricky, and they play Aston Villa in the Champions League on Tuesday night. And okay, they at least qualify for the playoff for sure, maybe even top 8. So we'll see. But yeah, it's not good at all. And they were 1-0 up against Montpellier, bottom of the table, who could not beat anybody for 3 months. And then they conceded 2 goals in the second half to lose 2-1. It was bad, really, really bad. Lazio beat Verona 3-0 on the road on Sunday and now up to 4th. But Gab, what everybody really wants to know is what is going on, or the latest, about Juan Bernabe.
Okay, so for those who missed the last
I
installment.
just wanted to talk about that again.
Well, no, because there are important developments here. So Juan Bernabe is the weirdo with a shaven head, who is the falconer Lazio take out. They have an eagle named Olympia that they got from Benfica that flies around the stadium. He's the guy who looks after. He's kind of a cult figure among certain people. He's also an avowed fascist who lost his job at the club in 2021 for making repeated fascist salutes.
Yeah.
Talks all this fascist nonsense when, like, whatever your political views are, like, you're employed by the club, just STFU, right?
Yeah.
About your views. Anyway, they took him back in 2024, and then the guy goes and he makes a video which explains that he likes having sex with multiple women so much, but he's 56 years old, so instead of taking Blue Chew like normal people, no, he's got to go and get a penile implant, and then he kind of films the whole operation, and it's more than anybody wants to see, and so the club sack him. So here's a twist. The club have sacked him. He has... and by the way, this weirdo, he lives at Formello, which is Lazio's training ground. He actually lives inside the training ground. I don't know if he lives with Olympia the Eagle or somebody else.
Yeah, you think so.
I don't know.
Like a little house outside, like bird's house. You know?
But anyway, he hasn't left Formello. He's still there. He's refusing to leave. He's presented medical certificates, which the club are questioning their validity, saying that he's too stressed out to leave. The club, by the way, in case you're wondering, have announced that, hey, if Olympia leaves us, we will get a new falconer. We'll get a new eagle. Hopefully not somebody who is a raging fascist.
Yeah.
Again, when they say that, I don't know. Are they going to keep Olympia and get somebody else to look after Olympia? Or are they just going to send Olympia away with...
Surely it's his property. Like, it must belong... Olympia belongs to him, right? So if he goes, she goes.
First of all, Olympia belongs to Lazio fans and all men and women and children of goodwill.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can Olympia be property? Can you own
it's
an
like
eagle?
Your dog, like your cat is your cat. I can't come and take your cat.
An eagle is a symbol of freedom soaring over humanity.
So is your cat.
Is
one
not.
Of your cats that keep wandering around.
But anyway, he made another video where he quoted, you know, the Teddy Roosevelt speech, "Man in the Arena." Yeah. He compared himself to the man in the arena, read half the speech, and then
I don't want this to end. You know, I want those updates every week.
No, the video ends like this. He starts showing off his rings. So one of his rings represents the Colosseum. And by the way, I hasten to mind, much as I like making fun of people from Rome, this guy's not Roman.
No,
he's Spanish. He's not even one of ours.
We don't even know how he ended up there. We said that the other day.
So he's got, think of the Colosseum. He has a ring of an eagle. He has another ring with an eagle on it. He has a bracelet with eagles on it. And what does he do at the end of the video? He puts on, you know those like metal Legionnaires helmets? He puts on the helmet on a stupid bald head, picks up a sword and starts waving it around, saying he's going to continue fighting. Seriously, I'm glad that whatever your views on gun laws, I'm glad that they do not have them, that it's hard to own guns in Italy, because I could see this guy barricading himself in there with his rings and his helmet and his AR-15 and saying, "Okay, Lotito, come get me out. This is my house." From the sublime to the ridiculous. It's time! It's time! It's Texter time! Lyon are held at home by Toulouse, which isn't great for our hero. But at least John Texter got to troll Cristiano Ronaldo over the Thiago Almada signing, Jules.
So I haven't seen the trolling.
Okay, so basically what they did is when they made Cristiano Ronaldo kept making fun of Ligue 1, saying that it was worse than the Saudi League and blah, blah, blah. And basically, they I guess in the video that they made for Thiago Almada's signing, Thiago Almada, by the way, comes on loan because, of course, they can't afford anybody.
So
and unless they
can
find,
only have loan player on
unless they
free
find
from
money.
Botafogo.
Anyway, they said, hey, Thiago, don't listen to Cristiano Ronaldo. So, you know he didn't appreciate
And to
that.
be fair, Thiago Almada was on the bench in this game, which was dire. Really, I mean, Toulouse were good. Lyon were horrible, really horrendous. At the end, the Lyon Ultras called, as they do sometimes, called the players to come and see them at the bottom of their stands. Apparently, he was not too toxic or too tense, but still, Lyon have been terrible since the turn of the year. Thiago Almada, who's arrived on loan, as we sent from Botafogo, free loan. We do them a lot of good because they didn't create anything at all this weekend. And you know what they're hoping as well, Gabi? Luis Enrique, the Botafogo winger, the Brazilian international, has been sold to Zenit for 37 million euros.
Yeah,
from
sanctions.
Botafogo.
Yeah, sanctions, schmanctions.
And they're also hoping that those 37 million on their way from Zenit to Botafogo will just stop by in Lyon, stay there in the club's account for a little bit so the French financial fair play can look at it and say, okay, and then maybe make their way back to Botafogo. God knows.
So, there's this thing with ultras calling players over at the end of games.
To tell them off. Yeah.
To applaud them and tell them off. A lot of clubs do this. Happens at many clubs in Serie A. Happens at Bayern in Germany.
Yeah, in Germany,
where you have
in France.
You don't see it here in the Premier League. I think they're just, there are no ultras here, but also they're specifically told, keep your distance, right? So they all kind of applaud for them a little bit. But I was wondering, have they ever called JT over?
No.
Has John Texter ever gone under the ultras, either to get applause or
but remember there was it 2 years ago? But he's never there. He's really there.
Where is he? He's here in London all the time, isn't he?
Yeah, but he rarely goes to game, which is the same with a lot of foreign owners when you think about it.
Roman Abramovich came to Chelsea regularly.
Yeah, true.
Sheikh Mansour, not so much.
That's true. Julian Lopetegui is being linked to the vacant Belgium national team job, Gab. Would it be a good choice, do you think?
I like Lopetegui. I'm not sure I like Lopetegui as a national team coach.
Yeah.
Just simply his approach. I think he needs, again, one of those guys who needs more time on the training pitch to really move the needle. I think despite the fact that he's an Uncle George guy, I think he's actually one of the good guys.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that what went wrong at West Ham in his most recent job. I'm surprised. This sounds like something that maybe agents put in. Maybe even
but
Uncle George.
Also he's in the running.
Who?
Rudy Garcia.
Rudy Garcia.
Yeah, he's in the running for this job. So obviously Tedesco has been sacked now, so they need somebody.
So
I don't know. They're just looking at rejects from clubs where he hasn't worked out for them.
Speaking of Rudy Garcia, where you were here, Rob Palmer was in for you. The sort of when we reacted to Didier Deschamps announcing that he was going to leave either before or after the 2026 World Cup, and the three names that came up as possible substitutes, were Zidane, not a surprise, even though he hasn't coached in a million years. Thierry Henry, who of course applies for every job under the sun. And the third was Rudy Garcia. I'm thinking to myself, Rudy Garcia, what's the story there?
But I think it's more the fact that for someone like him, like all those kind of former players who became good coaches, Christophe Galtier would be the same. I think Genesio would be the same. Patrick, Thierry.
Galtier and Genesio wouldn't have surprised me. But Rudy Garcia
won the double in France
alongside Zidane.
I know, but he won the double. I think you look more at who's available, who's on the market, who doesn't have a job. Thierry, Zidane, Garcia, and he still has, I think he probably has quite a high reputation in France for winning that double with Lille, to be fair.
By the way,
even if he won like a million years ago.
I was going to say, he won the double with a very young Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard, who has since retired from football.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's him.
Guess who's back? Back again. 3 years after leaving Manchester United, 3 years in which he's no doubt turned down a million different jobs.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is back at the helm. This time it's Besiktas.
Oh.
Jules, you're a big fan of Solskjaer, not Besiktas.
Am I? Like this. This is complete for me. It's just like why are Besiktas going for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when they're 6th in the table, 20 points? They're not having a good season. 20 points behind Galatasaray, who are leading the Turkish Super League. I just don't know. Why would you go for Solskjaer? 3 years without a job.
It's so bizarre. Why would you give him 18 months? Well? It's just a way of giving him more money. If you want to say, hey, look, we got nothing to lose, get us into the Europa League next season, and then we see how it goes. You're Besiktas. You have the power to do that. Otherwise, give the job to a cheaper up-and-coming Turkish manager and see where they can lead you, and then take your time and see where you can go in the summer. I don't know. I feel bad for Besiktas because I do have a soft spot simply because I'm not one of those guys who gets super excited by stadiums. I am definitely not a stadium nerd, but the Besiktas Stadium, I've said this before, in Istanbul, is one of the most spectacularly situated stadiums in the world.
It is. So good luck to Besiktas and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously. And sticking with them, that was Dele Alli's last club, somehow, Gabi, a long time ago, and he has now signed for Como and our friend Cesc Fabregas.
So I wasn't going to mention this at all because... I understand Como trying to do things differently. Ooh, look, we're the cool boutique club, and look, there's George Clooney's villa,
fans,
It's still Como, right? And I love it. They have like a little marina next to the stadium, and it's like, look, we're kind of like Monaco. I'm like, no, you're not. And by the way, I can say this. This is my part of the world,
of course.
This is my backyard. Yeah. No, because like in November, it's foggy and crappy from like November to March.
Yeah.
And that's not when Clooney's there. So I don't get this. And then on top of that, your idea is Dele Alli. Dele Alli has not played football since February 26th, 2023. Now, more recently than Solskjaer has coached.
Yeah, true.
But still, we're talking like nearly 2 years. I was watching a report on Sky Italia last night. They're like, Cesc Fabregas hopes to have Dele Alli available in the next 3 to 4 weeks. I'm thinking like, sorry, why isn't he available now? Why isn't he fit now? What?
Because I think he's been training on his own. Now he's been training with the team for the last 2 weeks or so.
But he's still not fit.
But he's not match fit.
Okay, but why are you signing him? You're going to be... I don't know if they will be relegated. I don't think they're in the bottom three, right? Yeah. They're close, right?
Yeah.
But why are you spending money on something when... Just focus on staying up. What are you going to have this guy play 10 games?
Maybe a pay-as-you-go contract where he actually doesn't cost them that much.
These stupid publicity stunts. Like, I'm all for it if it's somebody creative and likable and whatever. But this guy, seriously.
Let's check back in on Neymar, Gabi.
Okay, so this is where, we're part of the mainstream media. We hype things up and big names and blah, 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 and Cristiano and Messi. For some reason, Neymar's in the same boat. But this is just stupid, right? So I went back. So last week after we did the show on Thursday, it was like, Neymar to the Chicago Fire. They have their... So even before that, remember, he was linked to Inter Miami so he could reform the MSN. Chicago Fire have his discovery rights. I don't know what that is. It's some sort of stupid MLS thing.
They went over to
Neymar.
Riyadh to see him.
For
see Al Hilal.
I mean, seriously, really, why? What are you, stupid? Are you really? Really?
Well,
I would love to know who went over there.
I think our friend, Greg Berhalter seems to have gone with the franchise CEO.
I'd be very disappointed if that were the case.
But if you want to
sign
him,
you want a free tip to Riyadh to see the style?
You go and see him. It's better in person. It's, to try to present your project or whatever they wanted to do with him.
I would, whatever.
But you question more the fact that they want him or the fact that they went to see him? Because going to see him, that's fine.
MLS clubs have teeny tiny budgets. But whatever. Yeah, no, whatever. I would question the fact that they want him. I would question the fact that anybody's interested in this nonsense. The next day, what does he say? Well, the possibility of me staying in Saudi after my contract exists. Let's see. In 6 months, a lot can change. This is a direct quote from him. Yeah. He was on Romario's YouTube channel. Yeah. Sorry, what?
He's not even going to be registered to play in the Saudi League for the second half of the season.
The possibility of you staying in Saudi, as a non-football player? Well, you're going to go get a job at Neom or something?
But I think the idea is to go on loan between now and the end of the season, and at the end of the season, then you see what you do. really.
At the end of the season, you'll be a free agent.
Yeah. But
So
then,
what, you're going to extend?
but no,
Come
but
on,
Al
man.
Hilal might say, we offer you something, but not 100 million.
Listen.
He earns 100 million
Al Hilal,
euros a year, Gab.
Al Hilal.
100 million a year.
Al Hilal may have made mistakes. I refuse to believe they're morons. They've been ripped off. They're going to stop putting money into this money pit.
True.
And by the way, the next day, what is the one? Oh, it's almost certain now he's going to go to Santos on loan, which, by the way, is where it all began.
Yeah.
And what the original story was. Before then, it got Santos, Corinthians, Palmeiras, Miami,
in Brazil, it would only be Santos.
I would hope so.
And really,
I would hope so.
so it's between MLS. He's not going to stay in Saudi. So it's between MLS
This is what I understand about these people,
or
right?
Santos.
Dude, you've made more money than you could ever waste
Yeah.
for the next 5 generations. Even if you father another 20 children, they will all be millionaires for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Why didn't you decide not to? I won't make this about money. I'm going to make this about football. I'm going to go, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to play someplace where they like me and where I have fun, and I'm not going to make money an issue. Maybe that place is Santos. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But I hate the fact that every time that this guy's turned into like a little corporation. And it's just,
I know.
it just bugs me.
I know. FIFA banned Manuel Arias, the president of the Panama FA, for 6 months. What did he do, Gab?
So they have a midfielder named Mara Cox. And by the way,
I know, I saw her play. She scored an amazing goal against France at the last World Cup.
Panama's women's team qualified for the last World Cup,
Yeah.
obviously, which is kind of a feat, I think, for Panama's a small country.
She's the best player by far, probably men and women combined.
So stop it.
No, I
So,
promise you, she's really good.
Deli Valdez is still with us, right?
No, I mean current
Okay.
players.
But she came out. She criticized the national team setup, the resources available to women to them, whatever. It's a common complaint
Yeah, of course.
from. And he responded by calling her fat. Now, I want to be very, very clear on this point. People said, I saw a headline, I think it was the Guardian's like, oh, like, or maybe it was our site, I don't know, like, you suspended for fat shaming her, right? First of all, fat shaming is when you call somebody fat who is fat, right? Mara Cox is not fat. Secondly, I think it's fair with women professional athletes if we think that they are heavier than their playing weight, heavier than they should be. In the same way Romelu Lukaku gets this all the time, the same way Eden Hazard gets it all the time. There's no reason Mara Cox, if she was overweight and unfit, shouldn't get the criticism, right?
I know, but nobody
However,
called Lukaku fat or Eden Hazard
Lukaku's
fat.
been called fat all the
By
time.
who? Not by a
By
president of the
Antonio
Belgium.
Conte, you came in and you're 10 kilograms overweight. I think the difference here is he's not expressing a technical view. He's simply calling her fat because she says there's not enough resources available for the women. That is
Yeah.
completely unacceptable, right? I think we will, and also, I think we can get to a situation where we can discuss people's fitness in an intelligent, constructive way. This was not it. This is a
Yeah.
guy who's playing into the worst kind of misogynistic stereotypes. So, yeah, I see you for 6 months. Now, I'll say this. He's suspended for 6 months. Do you think this affects his life or the Panamanian FA in any way?
Very true.
He's still going to draw a salary.
Absolutely.
He's not allowed to go
It's
to
the office.
national team games. Yeah,
He's going to work from home, basically. That's what he's saying.
exactly. Or not work at all because, let's face it, he is the president of the Panamanian FA. Most presidents and chairmen don't do any work
No,
at all.
that's
They
true.
leave it all to the chief executives.